Like, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Makari's kind of like busy right now. So I, Andy Warhol Kari, I'm here just to like take his place for a second, my star children. And he's told me to remind you that like this is a guide of some kind, and that we all gotta value our guides. Cause without them, we get lost in like the vacuum and depth of our minds, man. Moving on from that very weird intro, I'm sure at some point when we were children, in our infancy, we've gone up to one of our parental figures whilst out shopping after seeing a cute dog and going, "Mom, can I have insert species of pet here?" And to which your parent has said, "But darling, we have pets at home." Well, this is what she meant when we said we have pets at home. Warframe not only boasts some of the most dynamic and intriguing combat systems in any game ever, but also boasts one of the most adorable Tamagotchi simulators ever created, where you adopt a pet of your choosing and watch it grow over the space of many years, and then you forget about it and wonder why it detests your guts. But in this video, we're going to be going over the process of how you make, grow, craft, and infuse with the power of 1,000 candles your own homegrown Tamagotchi pet companion within the world of Warframe. And we're also going to then go over what they're good for, why they're good, and what best way to use these companions you so have intrepidly ignored your entire time, you damn dirty person for ignoring your pets. At the end of the day, the first thing to realize about companions is it's all a preference of choice. Much like any weapon in this game, what you play is up to you. And in essence, the choice of companion you go for is more to serve the purpose of utility they bring, rather than what they do and how much damage they deal. So whether that's crowd control, buffing, or the unique utility they bring like stealth. As of this video, there are 4 main companion types: Sentinels, Mowers, Kubrows, and Kavats, each of which boasting a range of unique mods and fundamental gameplay affecting traits. And more than uniquely, and unlike weapons, they also then have 10 mod slots instead of the usual 8. And that in of itself comes with their own unique polarity, the Penjaga polarity, which is only used for your companion mods. And to emphasize this, I will give a demonstration of my personal builds later in this video. So to start things off and to make this as quick as possible so Andy Warhol Kari doesn't get bored of sitting in my oven, we're going to go through this as quickly and as clinically as possible without getting too distracted by the adorable fluffy things on the floor. Starting off by looking at what we're most likely to encounter first: Sentinels! These robotic, floaty death balls of annoyance are the most simple and transparent of all the companions in the game, as these are simply crafted by obtaining the blueprint from either the marketplace or clan dojo or wherever they're found from, and then crafting it like you would any other weapon. Each Sentinel then comes with their own unique robotic weaponry. These should be treated much like any other weapon that you would use normally for the sake of modding and for the sake of simplicity. And for the sake of simplicity, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the weapons for your companion here, otherwise we'll be here until Andy Warhol dies of old age, but we are going to at least generalize what they do. Suffice it to say, the weapons are, again, much like anything else. They are personal choice. But keep in mind that each companion comes with their own unique weapon, so getting mastery for that weapon is sort of a priority. So not only do you get the weapon, you get the companion, the mastery will then come from both when you level them. Starting our list with a carrier. This utility-based Sentinel is obtained from the marketplace, boasting 3 unique mods that it comes with: Striker, Ammo Case, and Looter. These mods aid easily looting nearby containers, giving a baseline ammo mutator, and great for using on low ammo capacity weapons like the Exceltor. This companion then comes with the weapon Sweeper, a low base damage weapon that's easily upgradable and deals consistent amount of damage. This Sentinel then also has a Prime variant, however that is currently vaulted. Death Cube may sound like an epic death metal band name, but it is in fact one of the early stage companions you'll likely end up crafting. Coming from the marketplace and boasting a Prime variant in of itself, this companion aids the user by utilizing its Alt-Fire Vaporize mod, which is an upgradable mod in the modding station section to deal high amounts of damage, and whilst doing so, being able to drop energy orbs as it murders its way through the enemy lines. Kinda earns its name really with being a death machine rifle as its weapon. The floating bag of hot air known as Dirija may look like a mad scientist discarded plaything, but this fun little Sentinel is kind of like a sniping Sentinel with attitude problem, dealing long-distance attacks and crowd-controlling enemies that get too close with its arc coil. This Sentinel is obtained from the marketplace and comes with the Volklock weapon. Everybody gonna do the YMCA. What? Wait, you mean the Jinn isn't do... Oh, okay, could have fooled me. This interesting companion that's got his arms fused above its head like some dancing maniacal maniac comes from your biolab in your clan dojo, and is specifically sort of like a tanky suicide bomber Sentinel, I guess. With unique mods this comes with, it can blow itself up, dealing huge damage, and then reviving itself a moment later to continue the fun all over again. And oddly enough, has a unique passive where the Gazelle Machete can empower the unique mods it comes with. The Jinn also then comes with the weapon Stinger. Helios, this in my eyes is one of your best companions to go with for general use, as it will by default scan targets that you encounter for you, meaning you don't need to pull out those pesky codex scanners and can instead just get straight on with the murdering. So more for utility than anything else, as enemies that are completely scanned will then be made vulnerable by his Detect Vulnerability mod. This companion then also has a primed variant which is vaulted at this point, and comes with the weapon Deconstructor. Oxalis is then obtained from the Fortuna rep rewards from The Biz, and it shows fishing hotspots and reveals containers. Seriously, this is probably one of the more lackluster companions out there, but if you want the mastery for it, you know where to get it now. Shade is the Loki of the companions. This sneaky boy won't deal much damage consistently, but utilizing its ambush and ghost mod, you can not only consistently be going invisible, but once the invisibility is broken, you can then leap out like some demented hungry fanboy and deal huge amounts of damage. This then has an alternative Prisma version that comes from Barracuteer, and comes with the Burst Laser weapon. And now the Sentinel you're more likely to have seen, the Taxon. This bad boy is basically given to you within the first hour of playing the game by completing the Venus Junction, and is, as simply put, a simple companion that slows enemies with its cold-based Artax gun, and molecular conversion mod for that added shields for your frame. In essence, a perfect early game companion to keep your shields topped, and to slow things down a bit to make life a bit easier for you. And lastly, in the Sentinel department, we have our boy Worm. This bad boy himself, this puppy companion of ours, comes with a laser rifle, which pretty much does what it says on the tin. But what we wouldn't expect of this adorable fella is the fact that he has an amazing stun from a crowd control from his mods, which is then called Dispersion, and can entirely prevent status effects with his Negate mod. Now, we've been quite simplistic with the Sentinels because honestly, Sentinels are what you see is what you get. There's not too much need to go into detail with them because there's not much detail about them. You use the one you want the utility of. But unlike the other companions that we'll be mentioning here, a final point to mention is that Sentinels can get ribbons for their weapons. You can get these ribbons from Cephalon Samaris from the vendor at the back of his room. This then offers a unique take and high potency potential from their builds when you get a ribbon for one of the weapons you're using. Now, I'm going to jump straight into the Moa companions, as they are technically their own unique companion, but they do share a lot of similarities of modding and weaponry as the Sentinels. In fact, in essence, you could just see the Moas as an advancement on the Sentinels, and with legs, and an actual personality. The thing with Moas is there's a bit of a nuance to them. They are treated much like kit guns and Zors. The utility and potency these bring are based in much like the Zors and kit guns that we've experienced so far, where the whole is only as powerful as the sum of the parts you've built them with. But just to give you some idea, I'll explain the actual gameplay affecting components, which are the model. These are the foundation of your Moa and what you get mastery for once you've made them. Then you have the core and gyro, which aid the base stats of the Moa and also make them look rather snazzy as well. Then the bracket determines the polarities the Moa starts with and also determines how good your pet will look in Crocs. Some things to note about these lovely metallic puppers is that you need to level them to max and then guild them again to gain the mastery from the model component, kind of like how you do with kit guns and Zors. Although also worth noting is that although they share a lot of modding semantics with Sentinels, they also then come with their own unique range of mods as well, which all come from the bounties on Fortuna. These are then the following. Stasis field and shockwave actuator will come with the Lamio model. These are inherently designed as kind of like a support role. Shockwave actuator creating a shockwave, and stasis field creating a barrier for protective notions. Oloro model will then come with tractor beam and security override. Again, utility function here. Security override allowing you to override security functions such as hacking terminals, and then tractor beam basically allowing you to pull things in your general direction. Again, these will have a cooldown, so they won't happen all the time, but when they do, you'll notice that life becomes slightly easier for yourself. Anti-grav grenade and whiplash mine are then for the para component. The para component is something you're going to use if you're looking for a mower with a bit more aggression to it, as these mods will then aid in a bit more of an aggressive playstyle. And realistically speaking is the one that I would suggest if you're looking for something that doesn't rely on much micromanagement. And really, this all leads us on to why we would want to use mowers over sentinels, because they share a lot of things in common. But the way to look at it is a stepping stone. Sentinels are a great stepping stone to mowers. Sentinels are simple, straightforward, and easy to understand. Mowers are adjustable, and essentially, they're the Zors of pets. They are compartmentalized into their components, and you can adjust them to play the way you want them to play, and also look. And I'm not going to lie, when you can have a mower that has a top hat and a bow tie, that does give you one reason as to why you would never want to use Sentinels again. But hey, personal preferences and bias aside. Now we're going to move on to the living component of this guide, with the actual puppers of space, the Kubrows. That hasn't quite got the same ring to it, does it? Anywho, these puppers are the attack dogs of the Origin system, and boast a lot of aggressive features to aid in the dismemberment of your enemies. Now, I'm not sure anyone's ever noticed this, and I might be a bit woke for pointing this out. Living creatures are not crafted like your typical robotic companions. Instead, your Kubrow needs to be bred from an egg. Wait, an egg? Yes, an egg, you heard me right. They're nurtured to fruition from an egg. So if you lack the parental tick of a hen, then you're not going to do well with Kubrows or Kavats, because they do require you to look after them like a child. Now, for both the Kubrow and the Kavat, you will need to get an incubator segment for your lander. This can be initially attained by completing the Howl of the Kubrow quest, which you get in the very early stages of things. This then sets you up for the crafting, the breeding, the growing, the egg-shattering growth of your companions. Once you have that incubator segment in your ship, you can start the process of maturing and growing your pets. Kubrows will require an egg, which are obtained from murdering the helpless families of Kubrows on Earth, plundering their nests for their eggs and their young. Has anyone ever thought that we might be the bad guys in this? I'm just pointing it out. I'm going to also avoid tormenting you with egg jokes, I promise. Otherwise, this video will become excruciating. Anyway, jokes aside, you can either generate a random incubation, which will give you a random chance at one of the breeds of Kubrows, or you can convince one of your friends to give you a genetic code template to specifically choose the breed and coloration that somebody else has already bred. And without making too big of a tangent in this video, in short, genetic code templates are just a nice thing that you can get the blueprint for from the marketplace that allow you to trade and barter your breeds of Kavats and Kubrows that you've already designed. So if you've got a really awesome coloration or horrible mutation you want to torment your friends with, you can sell it for big bucks on the genetic code marketplace via the trade system. And in my eyes, actually adds an extra element of gameplay loop to your pets, because then there's an entire world of a different part of the marketplace out there where you can actually trade and slave labor away your pets and genetic codes, which, to be fair, is a decent way of making a bit of platinum here or there. Now, both Kavats and Kubrows alike, once bred, will start out as the most adorable, cute little babies you ever damn well saw. I mean, DE definitely know how to pull the cuteness strings, don't they? And then you can either leave them like that to roam around your ship, being their adorable puppy kitty little selves and perpetuating your insecurities about owning pets in real life. Or, I mean, I guess you can mature them and actually get some use out of them, I guess. I mean, personal preferences aside here. One thing to note is that scanning is that although Kubrows come from eggs, Kavats will require Kavat genetic DNA, which comes from scanning Kavats in the missions you go into. Best place for this is the Orokin Derelict. Technically, you can look out for Kavat handlers in missions as well, but the Orokin Derelict you can go into as many times as you want, so long as you have the keys, and find roaming packs of invisible Kavats. The best way of scanning these, in my eyes, is to take either a Helios or a Helio Core. Both of these will advantageously scan these Kavats for you as you either murder them or just walk by them. Taking something that can sleep like an Equinox or an Ivara will make your life much easier as well, because then they won't be dashing around like some demented chimpanzee. But hey, once you have your Kavat or puppy being bred, you can then take shameless selfies with them for your Instagram. Now keep this in mind, Kubrows and Kavats, much like their living companions from real life, they have what is known as a happiness meter, and this is increased by petting your Kavat or Kubrow with your hand. Should you have your pet die or be inconvenienced by a fly, that happiness meter will go down. So you want to manage this happiness meter to make sure they're dealing optimal damage. Similarly to that, they then have a DNA integrity, which gets reduced by a small percentage per day. You can increase this by using DNA stabilizers, which are purchased for credits. Making sure that you keep your pet happy will make sure they perform optimally. Let's start with the Kubrows, starting off with the Hurass Kubrow. This is basically the shade of your Kubrows. This has an augment called Stalk, which allows you and your pet to go invisible, and is in essence your sneaky, shady, low-key type thing. So if you're playing low-key, probably not the best thing to take this with you, otherwise, well, being invisible can't get any more invisible with extra invisibility. He attack, he defend, but most importantly, he protect. The Raxa Kubrow comes with an augment with Protect. This, in essence, allows the Kubrow to howl really annoyingly at the moon and regenerate the user's shields, and also regenerate your shields. This is also one of the pets that comes with the highest innate amount of health and shields. So surprisingly, this is more of a tanky pet. The Sahasa Kubrow is the attack dog of all Kubrows. This comes with a mod called Ferocity, which allows it to perform finishers on any enemy in a cooldown fashion, meaning it will deal high amounts of slash damage to all enemies. And if you're looking for a Kubrow to use that will deal high consistent damage, this is the one you go for. No utility, no functionality, all damage. Ever wanted a dog that jumps on your enemy and murders them horribly? Well, the Sonika Kubrow is basically similar to that of the Sahasa, but it will singularly target enemies to munch their brains in. Utilizing the Unleashed mod, the Unleashed mod will cause your Sonika Kubrow to run up to an enemy, jump on their face, and ravage them thoroughly. So, more of a damage Kubrow, but still does consistent amounts of damage and has high innate base health. Probably the only utility-based Kubrow in this list is the Shessa Kubrow. The Shessa Kubrow will bite the hand of an enemy, causing them to drop their weapons with the Neutralize mod, and also then run after containers and caches, giving you additional loot. So, not only are you going to neutralize enemies, but you get a bit of extra loot from caches and resource containers. Now for the creme de la creme, the Infested Cyst Companion, known as the Hemlift Charger. This one uniquely is crafted by utilizing those disgusting cysts that Nidus keeps giving you. You basically, when you have a fully grown infested cyst on your neck, which takes 7 days from inception, you can then drain that into an egg and then create this monstrosity. But don't let looks fool you, because this creature is unbelievably powerful, coming in with 4 unique augments, which are Trample, Proboscis, Strain Eruption, and Strain Fever, all of which are incredibly powerful in their own right, and I'll let you read what they do on the screen now, because otherwise we'll be here all day. Point being is, if you want a Kubrow that does crowd control, high damage, and is just really cool looking, this would be my suggestion. It's just a bit harder to make. Moving on to the kitty cats, starting with the Adaza Kavat. The Adaza Kavat is the consistent buffer of the Kavats. This one will give you a constant crit chance buff utilizing Cat's Eye, and then will also reflect damage dealt to it via the Reflect augment that it comes with. This, in my eyes, is the one you use if you want consistency from damage and also utility from one of your pets. Now we have the best, the absolute most suggested pet of all of these, the Smeeta Kavat. Utilizing Mischief and Charm, you will have a Kavat that not only gives you a rotation of buffs, which are unbelievably powerful. With Charm, you gain either a 200% crit chance buff, or you gain duplicated loot, or some other random things. Either way, the crit chance and the loot buff are the ones you look for here. You then have Mischief, which allows you to occasionally turn invisible and draw fire from nearby enemies. So the Adarza Kavat and Smita Kavat are definitely the most gameplay affecting Kavats, and I would recommend one or the other if you're looking for a kitty cat. But the Vaska Kavat is not a bad one either, and is one of the newer ones added to the game. You get the Vaska Kavat by allowing it to bite and infect your existing Kavat. I didn't say this would be simple or nice, did I? The Vaska Kavat embodies the idea of being a vampire. So for those that wanted to do their best cosplay of Alucard, this Kavat will help you do so. Coming with Transfusion and Draining Bite, this will basically drain the blood of the enemy to keep you going, and although probably isn't my personal choice, is kind of nifty nonetheless. So whilst we wrap this video up, I'm going to point out that, as ever, pets are all subjective, and there is some other stuff we could have mentioned here that's a bit more nuanced, but suffice it to say, the basics of pets is it's all preference. There's not really much that's complicated behind pets beyond what's transparent to you through the means of what your incubator will tell you, and honestly, the hard part of understanding is the modding. Now, pets will generally take considerably longer time to optimize due to the intensive modding requirements they come with. And realistically speaking, you're not really modding your pets to do damage in most cases. Yes, they can do damage, but your pets should ideally act as more of a utility addition to your frame. And the function they're used for is their unique perks rather than the benefits of damage they bring. But that doesn't mean you can't try to extract some potency from them. So in the back, we're going to have some builds rotating through for the individual mowers, Kavats, and Sentinels. Generally speaking, all of the types of pets can have a very generalized build that makes them work wonders. And I think then adapting that to each individual Kavat or pet or Kubrow in general is the way to go. There are some unique mods that I would highly recommend, however, especially with your Kubrow and Kavat, such as Armor Link, Health Link. There are mods that will not only help your Kavat, but then link to your frame and weapon to really embody that idea of synergistic playstyle. So if you see a mod that aids you with damage, such as the Hunter's set, like Hunter's Munitions, Hunter Track, etc., or the Armor Link, the Health Link, you definitely want to try and make use of those as a foundation. Then after that, whatever you choose is down to you. There is things like Bite, which give you additional damage. There's utility options with things like Thief and Vacuum. The world is your oyster when it comes to a pet, and above all else, because there's no necessity to mod for damage, you can build your Kavat and Kubrow to however function you want them to perform. Or you can just be me and bring them along because you like having a cute little kitty cat with you that you can go, who's your good kitty? Who's your good? Oh, it bit my finger off. Either way, pets are a wonderful part of Warframe, and I would love to know what your preference of pet is when playing this game. I personally love the Smita Kavat simply because it's got a rotational buff that helps me out with my loot. More loot is always good in Warframe after all. But hey, this is what this video has been all about. It's about helping newer players understand why pets are so important. And hopefully you found this video unique, helpful, and at least somewhat informative. Andy Warhol aside. So thank you for watching. If you want to come on by and join us on our videos, I record these on Twitch along with our community to get involved. Generally speaking, we play Warframe every single day with the embodiment of getting you involved and helping out in any way we can, regardless of level or skill. I'll leave a link to my Twitch and Twitter down below for those who would like to join us. So thank you very much for watching. I will see all of you top hatters in the next video, which, as a slight side note, we're probably going to be slowing down on the videos until Deadlock Protocol drops, as there's going to be a lot of content coming when that drops, and that is a big, big patch, and hopefully you guys are excited for that as well. So I'll see all of you top hatters in the next video. Ta-ra. This ending was terrible.